Final judgment. Final
Philadelphia, are you ready? Listen, I know this is going to be a different show. When I built this platform, I said this is going to be a different show, right? But I always got to stick to the local roots. Tony Jigsaw Cutillo here, Final Judgment, brought to you, powered by Heat Ratio Sports, Win Daily Sports. Heat Ratio, where you get your national and local perspectives. Win Daily Sports, the home of the $5.99 per week prop models, DFS tools, optimizers, you name it. Code word green to get a free week. And then, as always, sponsored by our wonderful friends, the place where all analytics begin, SEObrand.com. Listen, this is World Series preview. World Series Listen, I can't stop the Philly feeling. I can't stop. I woke up today. I was going to do the show last night, and I was like, you know what? Listen, I had a whole, you know how I do it. I had a whole show planned out. I was going to talk about NBA players or greatest players that never won a championship. I was going to talk about Tom Brady, right? I was going to talk about all this, but you know what? That's going to wait. That's on the back burner because, and I know it's Football Friday, but I really, honestly, right now, I'm focused on game one. I'm focused on tonight, okay? And that's what's most important because I cannot get the feeling out of my stomach of how elated and excited I am over game one, over this World Series. And that's what we're going to preview. I want to hear from you. I want to hear, what are your concerns? You know, honestly, what are you looking forward to? What's your predictions? Let's throw it all out there. Listen, this is where you get your takes at, okay? This is where you get your takes. It's 10 a.m. It's 10 a.m. You have a good 8 to 9 hours before first pitch, before you get and say, you know what? I was right. Okay, so we have all these feelings inside of us, and they're good feelings. Listen, there's nothing bad to feel right now. Nothing. All that Sixers trash, leave it alone. Who cares right now? Okay, yeah, Robert Quinn, love you, dude. I'm so glad, but I'll worry about you on Sunday. But right now, it's Friday morning. Okay, I'm blessed with the opportunity to be able to talk Phillies baseball, to talk the world of sports with everybody, and all of you be going back and forth on YouTube. And make sure, listen, if you're not following this show on YouTube, please do. If you're checking it on Facebook, I've asked you before, I'll say it again. Some of you have, some of you will, some of you don't, whatever. But if you greatly like this content, please go to YouTube, click on the subscription button, click on the like button. It's simple. Go to YouTube. I have every single episode labeled The Final Judgment. Okay, type in The Final Judgment with Tony Cutillo. All you need to do is type in The Final Judgment and it comes up. Okay, hit subscribe, hit like. I will greatly appreciate. There's tons of stuff on there. We got interviews on there. I have fantasy clips on there. I have post games. I mean, we're doing it all. We're going to be here all World Series. That's what I'm doing here because this is what I love. Already got bunch of people checking in. As always, look at Ann. Yes, Ann. Ann. Great to hear from you, Ann. I love it. Yes, go Phillies. We all know. Adam, good morning, my man. Absolutely. My man, Rich, Red October. Yes, let's go Phillies. Trevor, yeah, man. You know Jigsaw's here. The Final Judgment, Phillies in 7. I got Phillies in 6. Okay, I'm being honest. I got Phillies in 6. I hate that it's 6 because we're gonna have to win it in Houston, but I got Phillies in 6. That's where I'm looking at, man. I'm really looking at that, man. Rich says it's all yeah, my man. Rich is pumping me up, man. I love it. Rich, all kinds of good content. I try, and I'll tell you what. Well, I will say this to everybody out there: if you build it the right way, it will come. I'm just going to tell you that. Not to get on that Field of Dreams bullshit, but honestly, if you build it right, it will come. Javon checking in. It's going to be a fun series, man. The Phillies are battle tested and will to win it in 6. I get it. I'm with you, man. Trevor says I have a future bet on the Phillies and out. So Trevor's in no matter what. Trevor wins no matter what. He's in no matter what. He wins. But you know what, Trev? We need the Phillies bet to win. And checking in again. I'm going to. Oh, look at that. And is going to Game 7 in Houston. Okay. And this is what it's all about. Here we have a Philly girl, Philly fan, Philly girl from Jersey going to Houston. Look for her. Make sure you're looking for Ann on TV. Ann, I'll be looking for you. Make sure you give me some updates, Ann. Ann, here you go. If you're going to Game 7, hopefully, listen, I hope it doesn't go to Game 7, right? Because I want to win it before that. But if it does go to Game 7, Ann, okay, I hope that we win while you're there. How's that? I'm trying to figure out a great way to say it. If it's there, I need to be tagged. You need to come on this show. Okay, we got to get you back on this show. Okay, no bet and talk, just straight Phillies talk and how that experience was. Adam says 6-3 Phillies tonight. I like that. Going up against my man Verlander. Trevor says got the Phillies at plus 1,200. Trevor with the big moonshot bet after they beat the Cardinals. I love it. I love it. And says I'll be on the show. Yes, and as always, we will be in touch. We got to get you back on, man. We got to get you back on, and let's just talk some Philly flavor, man. That's all. Just talk some Philly flavor. How you feel? Maybe right. Hopefully if they do go to Game 7, they win, Andy. You're there. We got to get you right on afterwards to get that instant reaction. It says Astros a plus 250. See, that's the big difference. You see that, right? Huge difference, right? My man Rick checking in. There's no Game 7. We win before 5. Sorry, my man Rick. As always, I love it. Rick, any way we can win, I don't care. We just need to win, right? We just need to win. I say Phillies in 6. It's not a homer. It's not a homer bias bet either. You go into this and you feel it, right? You feel things that happen. I talked about this before. I talked about baseball gods. I've talked about certain feelings. Listen, there's a specific passion injected into this game and into this team, and you can't deny it. You just can't deny it. And says, I'll be happy not to go to Game 7 if the Phillies do it by that. Either way, Ann, you're coming on this show, okay? Either way, me and Ann are going to rock it out talking about this Philly season once it's over. Guess what? Verlander in the World Series has a huge ERA, 6.30. 6.30, Rich. That's what I was going to bring up. I'm glad you're bringing that up. So Verlander is a 6.30 ERA in the postseason. Okay, but this still is the modern-day Cy Young. It's the modern-day Cy Young. And what I will say, Adam brings up a good point. They're too confident. And, one thing about Houston, I'm okay with being confident, but everything that's come out in Houston by the players, no matter who it is, whether it be Bregman, okay, whether it be Dusty Baker, it's all about, now they're talking about winning multiple. Like Dusty had a quote saying, once we win 1, then we'll talk about 2. Okay, hey, Dusty, last time I checked, you haven't won 1 yet in 11 tries, bro. Okay, so let's calm down, take the toothpick out, relax, okay, and get your thoughts together before you speak. Houston, I get it. You were the best team in Major League Baseball. I understand it. But again, guess what? It's not always about what you did all year. It's about what have you done for me lately? What have you done for me lately? And right now, the Phillies are who are doing it lately. Okay. Rick checking this says a team love is there to energy. It's like a married couple for 50 years. There's no stopping them. I don't know about a married couple for 50 years, man. After 50 years, I think I'd be out of freaking energy, to be honest with you. I don't know if that's going to work. Astros are already backing up. Exactly, Rich. You see it. You hear it. Okay. You hear cheers to Houston. But see, here's what the Astros don't have. Okay. They don't have Bryce Harper. Okay, listen, you say what you want. Bryce Harper's locked in. Bryce Harper's locked in. And tell me right now, okay, before we just get into it. I'm going to play this multiple times. Before we get into the preview, let's just, again, for everybody, let's just relive and listen.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Bryce Harper. Suarez delivers. Swing and a drive. Left field. It's deep. It's going. Yes! And it is gone!
Yes!
It is bedlam at the bank as Bryce Harper has put the Phillies on top.
Are you kidding me?
Oh, his 10th career home run in the postseason. And he may never hit a bigger one.
Oh. Wow.
4-3 Phillies in the bottom of the 8th inning.
Worth every penny of that car.
How can you not watch that every day? How can you not watch that every day and not get chills, right? It's unbelievable, right? When Harper's going the other way, Javon says he's locked in. When Harper is going the other way, he's locked. Listen, this is Bryce's first World Series. First time, man. That you know he's locked in. He's ready. Rich says, is the Astros last year because they were supposedly the most dominant team, and on top of it, the Braves beat them. Same as this year. They're the most dominant team. Just because your name is Diamond Team doesn't mean you win automatically. By just trying yourself out on the field, you have to play the game. I agree. Paper is different, right? It's all about paper, right? You still have to go out on the field and play the game and win. And the Phillies are a team that will go out and fight tooth and nail, and they will be able to put up crooked numbers. It's funny because when you look at this series as a whole, listen, you have 2 managers, right? You have 2 managers in Rob Thomson and Dusty Baker, right? Rob Thomson, who's been there as a bench coach, as an assistant with the Yankees. He gets it, right? He gets it. He completely understands. You got Dusty Baker, obviously, been there 11 times. 11 times in the postseason, right? And 2 trips to the World Series and still hasn't gotten it done, right? So again, listen, the Astros and Greg, great article on MLB.com by the one and only Local Ties. Todd Zalecki does a fantastic job. Okay, it's kind of what we're previewing. Actually, I'm gonna put it up. I'm gonna put it in the comments right now, just so you know, because I like to give. Listen, one thing I like to give credit to everybody's stats. Okay, because I can tell you right now, these cats do a tremendous job in covering a team, a tremendous job. And again, I want to give credit and give them their just dues. Todd Zalecki, again, he puts it collectively, the Astros are seeking a World Series crown that might not extinguish all the anguish over their 2017 trash can-enabled title, but would certainly cement them as an organization that owns October more than any other MLB team right now. The Phillies, on the other hand, squeaked into October for the first time since 2011, and with the help of the newly created wild card spot, which we all knew about that, and everybody's talking about that, so everybody's downplaying the Phillies because they snuck in. With Bryce Harper, their bearded franchise face, doing as he should, when he signed the massive free agent deal with Philadelphia. They have bashed their way past more celebrated squads to get to the World Series for the first time since back-to-back appearances in 08 and 09, and we know who we faced in 09. We know who we faced in 09. My man Albert checking in says, we got high hopes, Jigsaw. Albert, yes, go Fightins, man. Ring the bell, right? We got high expectations. 100%. We should have high expectations. There's no reason why we shouldn't have high expectations. There's a reason. Okay? And listen, let's get right into, because Adam brings up a good point, because I'm so excited right now. I was going to go like 20, 30. I might go an hour just with the energy that I have to let out. How you feeling about Aaron Nola tonight? Let's get into the Aaron Nola situation, okay? Because I was asked about this. My cousin hit me up. My cousin Kevin hit me up and said, hey, cuz, what are you thinking about Nola pitching game 1? And I said, I would address it on the show. I get it. I'm going to be honest with you. I get it, and I actually like it, right? So a lot of people are thinking, again, because Aaron Nola against San Diego got hit around. Listen, Aaron Nola didn't make bad pitches. They were just on his pitches, okay? And this is a stacked lineup. Let's make no mistake about it. This is a stacked lineup in Houston, Okay. I can see nightmares of Mr. Alvarez in my sleep. Okay. This is a stacked lineup. I get it. Okay. But the way Rob Thomson has managed this entire postseason has led me to believe that he has this mental picture of the way he sees games playing out. And I think that's extremely important. Okay. So, as a coach myself, when I bring up schemes for one specific game, I do the same thing. So but for Rob Thomson to be able to predict and mentally envision an entire series of how it could play out is amazing. And that's exactly what he did. That's exactly what he did, okay, in that series. When everybody said, why are you taking Ranger Suarez out after 60 pitches? Why, Rob? Why? The brilliance of Rob Thomson saying, I have another guy, okay, that's not named Zach Eflin. That's cool as a cucumber. His name is Ranger Suarez, who, let's not forget, he had closer experience. He was our closer. He was the Phillies closer, so he knows how to get shit done. And he said, you know what? I need this other kid, a lefty, mind you, in the bullpen because I can't trust that garbage-ass Brad Hand. Okay? I need somebody that can mow somebody down when we need it. And you hear Rob say all the time, battle test it, right? Battle test it. That's what it's all about. Battle test it. Ranger Suarez is battle tested. Battle test it in the sense that, yeah, it may not have been in the postseason, but battle test it as a closer, a late inning reliever. We need desperately that JC Romero on this team. And that JC Romero in that game was Ranger Suarez. Now, that same situation could happen here. Same situation could happen here. Aaron Nola is pitching game one, in my opinion, for two reasons. Number one, and I know people may not agree with this, okay, because they're going to say you don't do that game one of the World Series. But yes, I honestly, the way Rob Thomson has done this all year, it's what you do. When he brought Zach Eflin in to close the wild card spot out, it's exactly why he's going to have Aaron Nola right now pitch tonight. It's confidence. It's confidence. Aaron Nola is taking the mound tonight to show the entire team, Rob Thomson, saying, look, if you make a mistake, if you have a bad outing, we're still going to ride you because you're still our guy, right? There was a tremendous quote by Tony La Russa. I wish I had word for word, but I'm going to ad-lib, where he said, sometimes you just need the name on a jersey in the lineup. The name on a jersey is enough, which means if your guy's struggling, doesn't matter. You need that name on your jersey in the lineup. It's a tremendous statement that speaks volumes. Aaron Nola is pitching tonight because Rob Thomson is saying, you're still my guy. And here's the other thing. Here's the other caveat to that. If for all the people out there that are saying Aaron Nola should not pitch game one, if we were, which we're not, if we were going and lose game one tonight, now you fall back on your number one ace in Zack Wheeler to split that series in Houston. Again, think about it. Would you rather, listen, you never know. What's the World Series? All things are on the line. You never know how it's going to play out. But if Zack Wheeler pitches game one, and all of a sudden Zack Wheeler throws up a game like Aaron Nola had against San Diego, now you're relying on Aaron Nola in a bigger pressure spot to come in and bail you out and split a series. So I look at it two ways. Number one, it's all about confidence. Listen, we rode Aaron Nola. He did everything above expectations for September. Okay? Come on. Or just say the postseason. So let's listen. He didn't throw a bunch of junk balls up there. His velocity wasn't down. He didn't really hit his spots exactly, but he was still there. And listen, San Diego made good hits. They made good hits. Sometimes you got to tip your hat off to the other team. Sometimes you just got to do it, right? You have to do it. And I think that is what happened to Aaron Nola. Adam says, I think Nola goes at least 7. Javon says, I feel good with Nola going on the mound today. He faces Astros lineup towards the end of the season and had a perfect game going. A 3-0 game, by the way. The only team, Javon brings up a good point, the only team to beat Houston, okay, in October, okay, when you think about it, or not October, but in the latter stage of the season, was the Philadelphia Phillies. Okay, let's think about that for a second, right? So you think about that. So again, I think it was. Let me get the date for you. Oh, I'm sorry, it wasn't October. So the Astros are 11-1 in October. The only team to beat them, Todd Zalecki writes, the Phillies, who won 3-0 on October 3rd in Houston, which is the game that Javon is alluding to. So Aaron Nola definitely has that vibe about him, right? Last loss was the Phillies. Yep, and checking in. Absolutely. I like Nola even when everyone trashed him. Oh, you know what? I'm not going to say I trashed him. I'm not. But what I am going to say is, I had some concerns. I had some concerns about Ranger Suarez pitching game 3. Okay. And it's not because I don't think these guys can do it. It's because I don't know if they have the ability to step up in those pressure situations. And now they prove me wrong, which is fine. That's one thing you have to remember about any sport, whether you're a podcaster, whether you're a radio show host, whether you're an analyst on TV, whether you're a writer, it doesn't matter. Okay, when you write things, it's okay to give your opinion. Okay, but the best thing is, what I love is when I give my opinion and people don't like it, and maybe I don't even like my opinion. Listen, that's one thing. I may not like certain things that I'm thinking about at the current time, but if they prove to be wrong, yes, hallelujah, Jesus Christ. There's nothing better than that. Like if I say, damn it, I come on here to show and I say, I think the Phillies are going to lose, and then they win. How am I bad about that? It's the best feeling in the world. I'd love to be wrong. It's okay, but I'm not doing that. I still say the Phillies in 6. Still say the Phillies in 6. So let's look at this, okay? Let's look at the lineups. Schwarber, Hoskins, Realmuto, Harper, Castellanos. I'll tell you what, my man Nick, did anybody watch Nick? My man Nick, listen, and if Ann is still watching, Ann is going to agree with me with this statement, okay? Listen, when you Italians have some soul, okay? We got rhythm, and we got some soul in our boots, man. And my man Nick was showing out to some hip-hop moves, and I was like, okay, Nick, that's the Italian in Nick, right? I'm telling you, man, Italians know how to get down. And my man Nick showed a different side, and I'm glad because Nick's been taking a lot of heat this year, okay? And rightfully so. I get it. He signed a big money deal. He didn't produce. But listen, Nick is still giving you big-time plays and big-time moments. And sometimes that's what you need to do, okay? That's what you need to do. When you're struggling, you have to pick your spots. Right, you had to pick your spots, and that's what he's done. But my man had some soul, right? I liked it, man. He was getting down in the locker room. And then you go Alec Boehm. What a great story with Alec Boehm to come full circle, right? What a great story. I effing hate it here. Now I love it here. We know. And probably in the number 7 spot, one of the most unsung heroes that, in my opinion, could have been the MVP besides Bryce Harper. And listen, no disrespect to Rhys Hoskins, because Rhys Hoskins obviously could have been co-MVP. But if there was a co-MVP between him and Harper, the next guy in line had to be Bryson Stott. Bryson Stott, the story of Bryson Stott is amazing. It really is. As a young baseball player and as a coach of 15 and 16-year-old boys, just, waiting to see them get to the next step. I love seeing what Bryson Stott has been able to do. I love it. It's a great story. I'm not going to get into the entire story, but just what he has been able to battle through the entire year, from little nagging injuries to slumps at the plate. Shout out to Mr. Long, the MVP hitting coach of the Philadelphia Phillies. Okay. Shout out to him, getting him adjusted and getting him right. Making some tremendous plays at shortstop. Okay, big hit after big hit after big, opposite field hits, pulled hits, you name it. Bryson Stott has done everything and more than what the Phillies bargained for this young phenom. Okay, we heard all about Bryson Stott. Okay, and that's another thing. Okay, Bryson Stott is the new evolution of the Philadelphia Phillies, who have a reborn farm system. Okay, is something that cannot be overlooked. It can't be. We go back and we look at the years of glory, right? We look at the years of glory when we won in 08 and we went in 09 and 10 and 11 and 12, right? we were homegrown players. Chase Utley, Ryan Howard, Jimmy Rollins, Brett Myers, Cole Hamels, Ryan Madsen, right? Just say the names. They're just over and over again. The homegrown players, the Rule 5 guys like a Shane Victorino. We lost that for many years because, and listen, I'm not going to bash Ruben Amaro Jr. because you would say whatever you want, but without Rube, we never had these opportunities. You say what you want. I don't really care. Rube went all in with the 4 aces. Rube went all in with Roy Halladay. Cliff Lee, I'm all good with that. Okay, but when you go all in, you give up an entire farm system. And we talked about this on the show before. One of the unsung heroes of that era was their director of player development, was their scout. Okay. And then he goes to the Kansas City Royals and they win a World Series with homegrown talent. Okay. Again. And then that's what happened right now. What happened right now is you're finally starting to see a reborn and rebuilt farm system for the Philadelphia Phillies, something that we were last in for so many years, right? We were last in for so many years, and we're finally starting to rebuild that. Okay? And again, why can't, oh my God, dude, do me a favor. And Javon, somebody help me out. Sometimes you get tongue twisted. I have so many thoughts going in my head. I forget the guy's name. Who was the player development that I keep forgetting? Javon. And I've talked about him on this show so many different times. And for some reason, I'm having a brain aneurysm right now, or a brain fart, so to speak, and it's just going out of my mind. Mike, he helped me. I went to the Royals. He was our player, our player development guy. Who he wanted some more money. Ruben decided he's going to do it on his own. He let him go to the Kansas City Royals. He goes out to Kansas City. He rebuilds their farm system. Going back, Ruben Amaro Jr. hires a guy named Mr. Looper. Brady Looper, who Mr. Looper came from the Baltimore Orioles, okay, who haven't won in so many years and just didn't he didn't do well with our farm system. So now we're starting to see it. And this all comes full circle to my major point here is that we're starting to see the young players develop on this team. Next year, we're going to have guys like an Abel and like a Painter coming up, giving us even more. Okay, giving us even more. That was a big move, in my opinion. A big move. Nah, you know what? It wasn't. It wasn't Zumwalt. It was. Oh my God, I don't want to get off my screen and Google it. But it was Mike something. It's just like completely flowing through my mind here. And I've said it 1,000 times. Me and my buddy Dave, Coach Dave, talked about him all the time. And for some reason, I just can't. I'll get it. It'll come back to me. But one of the biggest moves in the trade deadline was not what we did do. It's what we didn't do. Dave Dombrowski, again, is a baseball guy. Yes, there we go. Javon's got it. Mike Arbuckle. Yes, Mike Arbuckle. There it is, Javon. Thank you, buddy. That's it. Mike I told him about him 1,000 times. And for some reason, I couldn't. I knew it was Mike, and I couldn't remember his last name, right? So Mike Arbuckle was the genius who gave us those players. He was the head of player development. Yes, he was the head of player development. He's the guy who scouted all that young talent for the Philadelphia Phillies. Okay, and then we let him go to the Kansas City Royals. And what did he do? He went and won a World Series in Kansas City with the players that he scouted, right? So player development is huge. And Looper came in. They hired Looper. He just didn't do the job. Okay, come from Baltimore. My expectations were low anyway. Okay, but right now, the GM is a major part in all of that. And no disrespect to Matt Klentak, but Matt Klentak was way over his head, right? He was way in over his head. There's a reason why John Middleton had to go out on a private jet and fly to convince Bryce Harper to come sign with Philadelphia, because his GM was a stiff and he couldn't get the job done. Okay, that guy, listen, Bryce Harper's story, man. You know the story. You know how he was brought up, right? The guy was just shopping in Target, for Christ's sake. He's a blue-collar guy. That's why we resonate so well with Bryce Harper. His dad's a union steel worker. He's an iron worker, okay? Lays pipe for a living. Go to work every single day, working 12, 16-hour shifts on the weekends to get Bryce everything he needed to be the guy he is today. Okay. And this guy, Matt Klintak, okay, who was a bean counter, okay, was probably the calculus, had a calculus somewhere. Congratulations, whatever. Goes out to talk to Bryce Harper, like, hey, Bryce, how you doing? Excuse me. And Bryce is like, who the hell is this guy? Right? Who is this guy? Okay. And you heard Middleton talk. Middleton's a normal guy. Middleton, he said, all right, now this guy I want to talk to. And Middleton comes out, lays the hammer down, puts his verdict down, just like we do here in the Final Judgment. And boom, Bryce Harper, Philadelphia Philly. And that brings me to Dave Dombrowski. Listen, Dombrowski's been all over. Boston, Detroit. He's a baseball guy. And he had a chance to do things at the trade deadline to bring in another arm. One of them, specifically Carlos Rodon, who I love Carlos Rodon. But again, Carlos Rodon, free agent, who we could still sign. Okay, they wanted one of our top prospects. And what did Dombro say? No. Dombro said no. We're building for the next 2 to 3 to 4 years with this nucleus that we have. And he said no. What did he do? He went and made these little subtle moves for a guy in Noah Syndergaard, who I brought up, who's pitching 93, 95 and still not even healthy yet. Let's remember that. Still not even healthy yet. Okay, that you still have next year. Guys like Brandon Marsh, who they said, you know what? We need a center fielder. Center fielder's been a problem since the Michael Bourne years. Come on. Thank God we don't have to look at Odubel Herrera. Okay. And again, here we are. What do we have? Brandon Marsh, a guy who in Angel Land couldn't hack it, got off track, was batting 220, 216. He's 24 years old. He's 24 and can cover the outfield like guys like, I don't even know. Like, he is so much like maybe Andrew Jones in his heyday. Okay. That's how much he has. And Javon brings up a great point. Marsh was a former top prospect in the Angel system. Okay. I remember Brandon Marsh. I remember scouting Brandon Marsh for fantasy friggin' baseball. Okay. I knew that this kid was legit. And I watched it. He just was in a funk. And that's what Dombro did. He scoped them out. Yes, he sent one of our catchers over there, which is fine. Do you think we need a catcher right now, by the way? Yeah, I don't think so. And then what happens? Kevin Long does what Kevin Long does. Kevin Long does Kevin Long things. And all he does is he turns Brandon Marsh into a 300 hitter down the stretch, has him hitting on fastballs, going the other way, hitting for power, and now you have your center fielder for the next 4 to 5 years. Hats off to Dave Dombrowski. Hats off to Dave. Dave Dombrowski has done the unthinkable. You know, we were sitting here 2 years ago saying, where are we headed with this team? God, Bryce Harper, hopefully he didn't sign here for the wrong reasons, right? You know, we were going through the pandemic. You know, he signs here in 2019. Unfortunately, the pandemic, he goes off, obviously, in that, comes back and has that tremendous year, MVP year, right? But we sit there and think about where we're headed because there was a lot of these young pieces that we knew, we're down there, but we couldn't put them all together. And then Dombrowski goes after Dombro guys. He goes after Dombro guys, Kyle Schwarber. Do I say any more? Right? He says, you know what? I've seen Kyle Schwarber in the postseason. And not only in the postseason, but I've seen Kyle Schwarber in the locker room. Another blue-collar guy. Anybody see Kyle Schwarber head over to Xfinity Live and go ride the bull the other night? Okay, after the win. Kyle Schwarber will be in the car wash next to you someday next week after they win the World Series and come back to Philly. Okay, that's who Kyle Schwarber is. And this is what happens when you can resonate with a fan base and a locker room and not be, I'm going to say it, not be a Manny Machado and think everybody's over your head and everybody's beneath you. This is why you have such a closeness and a bond on this team. And Dombro said, I need to bring in my man Kyle Schwarber, who, by the way, is batting .368 with 3 homers and 4 RBIs with a 1.44 OPS in his past 7 playoff games. Shout out to my man, Coach Dave, who said, hey, Tony, call me. He said, Tony, Kyle Schwarber's going to take over this series. That's what he told me. Right before the Padres series, he said, Schwarber's coming to play. And goddamn did he come to play. But again, he's a Dombro guy. Right? Dombro knew what he was getting. And then who's the other Dombro guy? Nick Castellanos. And again, you might not be happy with Castellanos, but let's have a Nick Castellanos moment. Okay. We need to give Nick Castellanos his due. You could say what you want about the low average and the no home runs and this and that. Okay. I'm not even going to mention the sliding catch, the save the day, in the Dodgers here. I'm not even going to mention that. Okay. But what I am going to mention is let's not forget that Bryce Harper has a UCL tear. Bryce Harper cannot play right field. Nick Castellanos is not a right fielder by trade, okay? He's an okay outfielder. But Nick Castellanos did not come here to play full-time right field. He signed here to most likely be a DH. And what Nick Castellanos has done is he's come out of his comfort zone and he's gone out and played a full-time, second to Kyle Schwarber and Reese Hoskins for the most games played all friggin' year. Nick Castellanos went out there and gave you a valiant effort in right field every single day, a position that would not be filled because Bryce Harper can't throw. Nobody's talking about that. And this is a guy, okay, that Dave Dombrowski brought in. This is a guy that Bryce Harper went and said, we need to bring in these extra guys. We need to boost the cavalry up to get us to the next point. And nobody's talking about Nick Castellanos. So this is my Nick Castellanos moment. Okay, I want everybody to remember that. Nick Castellanos did not come here to be a full-time right fielder. He came here to be a DH. And what he has been able to do all year long, I'll go through the strikeouts. I'll go through it. I'll go through the first pitch swings. It's okay. Nick Castellanos has given me great moments of times when we needed him. And most importantly, the only guy that could have played right field all year with a bat in the lineup to help us get to this point. Javon says Nick Castellanos is another guy that can get hot too. Yeah, hey Javon, how much did we ride Castellanos in MLB DFS? Man, whether it be Jonathan India, right? Whether it be Castellanos, as soon as Castellanos went under 5,000 in DFS, me and Javon were like, all right, we're jumping on Nick. Nick's going to get hot, and he did, and he got hot, and he's going to get hot again. Okay, listen, this series. Okay, let's get back to the series because I'm all over because I'm so excited. I have a lot to say. It's going to be two veterans in Rob Thomson and Dusty Baker, but listen, it's going to be pitching versus bats. Okay, the pitching is superior in Houston. You say what you want. It is superior. Okay, but I do like our bats, and I know they have a tremendous stacked lineup, but I like our bats the way we're swinging right now. I really do. Adam and Javon brought up earlier about Justin Verlander. Right now, he's 1-0, 6.3 ERA in the postseason, but overall, he's 15-11 with a 3.55 ERA in 33 games, but he's 0-6 with a 5.68 ERA in 7 World Series starts. Also, the Astros bullpen is pretty electric. Now, we just looked at a bullpen like that in San Diego, and we did get to them, even though we only faced Hader one time. But we did get to those other pieces that were the bridge to Hader. The Astros have 42 strikeouts in 33 innings. That is something to monitor as well. That is something that's going to come into play. Listen, there's no doubt about it that this bullpen for the Houston Astros against the bullpen of the Philadelphia Phillies is going to be huge. It's going to be huge. Starters can't go 7 to 8 innings every game. These are two pretty stacked lineups that are going to hit the ball. They're going to hit the ball. Okay, you're not going to get a perfect game in this series. I'm going to tell you that right now. So that's something that we have to look at. It's something that we have to monitor. We have to make sure that our bullpen steps up. We really do. Okay. Nola is 2-1 with 3.12 ERA in the postseason. We talked about it. He pitched a perfect 6 2/3 innings before a couple hits against him on the Astros on October 3rd. We talked about that. Javon talked about that, before they clinch a wild card spot. So, listen, Aaron Nola, we were talking about him looking so dominant, and then it just kind of fell apart a little bit. It is what it is. He'll be fine. I'm not worried about that whatsoever. And then we talked about Kyle Schwarber, postseason Kyle Schwarber. Talk about Bryce Harper, 419, 6 doubles, 5 home runs, 11 RBIs. Again, you can't say enough. And then Reese Hoskins, 269, 5 homers, 11 RBIs with a 1.191 OPS. I mean, your 3 guys that you need in that lineup, Schwarber, Harper, and Hoskins, are averaging about a 1.30 OPS, which is unbelievable. Okay. When we talk about whip and pitching, if you're under 1.0, that's elite. When we talk about OPS, if you're over 1.0, that's elite. And right now we have 3 guys that are elite. Now let's look at the Houston lineup. Jose Altuve, Jeremy Pena, coming off a rookie, MVP, NLCS or ALCS MVP. He's no slouch. Jordan Alvarez, another tremendous player. He's a guy from the left-hand side you don't want to see. I'm telling you right now, you just don't want to see Jordan Alvarez. Alex Bregman at third base. He's a guy who's been popping off to the papers a little bit. So I definitely like to shove it in his mouth. Kyle Tucker, right field, has some power. Yuli Gurriel. Gurriel, another guy that can hit the both sides of the field. Trey Mancini, great story. You know the story for Baltimore, comes over as their DH. He has some power. Chase McCormick plays a really good center field. I mean, it's basically him, against Brandon Marsh. They're kind of like a wash. Martin Maldonado at center or at catcher. Obviously, you're going to take JT Realmuto, but a good defensive catcher that does have some pop. But again, I still think that we have an edge, in my opinion. I do. I still think we have an edge. Javon says, this Astro line reminds me of the Braves. If you be careful around the big bats and make your pitches, yes, you will give yourself a chance. I completely agree because, listen, let's face it. In order to beat this team, okay, Altuve can't lead off hot, okay? Our Schwarber is their Altuve. Their Altuve is our Schwarber, right? He sets the tone. Okay, Altuve can do the same thing. Not as powerful as Schwarber, okay, but still, he's quick, okay? You get one of those leadoff doubles, it can kill you, okay? And then you have a guy in Pena who can do both, coming right after him, just like we have in Reese Hoskins. And then you have the big gun in Jordan Alvarez, or Jordan. I keep saying Jordan, but Jordan Alvarez over Bryce Harper. But Javon's right, because after you get past 1 through 4, Kyle Tucker, Gurriel, Mancini, McCormick, and Maldonado, they can all be pitched around. Okay, you can go right into them. You can go into their face with the fastball, okay, as long as you paint it right on the corners, and you can get them to chase good sliders and good breaking stuff with high spin rates in order to get them out. Just like we saw against Atlanta, like Javon's saying. So I agree. I think that's one of those. This is one of those lineups that I feel like, you know what, we can definitely break. We could definitely break. But look, it's almost time. And, we breaking it down. We've had some great energy on this show. We went 45 minutes. I mean, listen, we're on the precipice of history, going through all these teams, getting in as a wild card. Nobody thought we could go 3 strong in St. Louis. We did. Nobody thought that we could beat the defending champions, Atlanta. We did. Nobody thought, okay, that we could get past the Padres, but we did, okay? And now here we are against the Houston Astros, and nobody thinks we could do it. But guess what? I know one guy who definitely thinks we can.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Bryce Harper. Suarez delivers. Swing and a drive. Left field. It's deep. It's going. Yes! And it is gone!
Yes!
It is bedlam at the bank as Bryce Harper has put the Phillies on top.
Are you kidding me? Oh,
His 10th career home run in the postseason. And he may never hit a bigger one.
oh. Wow.
4-3 Phillies in the bottom of the 8th inning.
Worth every penny of that car.
And there we are. We're going to end on that. Keep it locked here. As always, this is the Final Judgment. I am Tony Jigsaw Cutillo. Make sure you give me a follow. You see it right there at Judge Jigsaw on Twitter. Make sure you're following this page, The Final Judgment. We will be here all World Series long. Post-game coverage. I will be here. Make sure you're checking in. I want to hear your reactions. Okay, let's get the reactions. Get the reactions. And listen, I am all in on the reaction, man. Let's get in. I'll dial you up, man. Whatever you want. Let's get the reaction. Then game 1, game 2, game 3, game 4, game 5, and then game 6, because we know game 6 we're going to win anyway. But nah, I still say Houston. I still say Houston goes down in 6. The Philadelphia Phillies ring the bell in Houston. And let me just give you a salute and a thank you to everybody tuning in and everybody that's watching. This has been a tremendous ride. Listen, I decided in August. Again, I decided in August, my man Jimmy checking in late says, sorry, Jigsaw, had to repost for the Astros. It's all good, man. It's all good, Jimmy. It's all nothing but win daily love. I got no problem with that. It's all good energy. As long as we bring good energy, I love it. And what I want to say is, I started in August, first episode in August. I decided over the summer, I said, you know what? I got tired of trying to chase radio shows and hearing that. And, on the local market, that's completely flooded, in my opinion, with the same personalities. And I kept telling me I'm too powerful and I don't have enough experience, even though I've been doing it for 10 friggin' years. Whatever. I'm not fit to have my own show. If I'm co-hosting with somebody, I'll overpower. Whatever. You heard the deal. Okay. But what I want to say is a thank you to everybody, because I finally say, you know what? I'm tired of pumping up everybody else's network, and I'm just going to pump up me. Time to be a hype man. I'm not a hype man. Okay, Tony Jigsaw Cutillo is not a hype man. Tony Jigsaw Cutillo worries about Tony Jigsaw Cutillo. Okay, that's what I need to start doing, because all those people that I used to hype up, they now all of a sudden forget who I am and forget that I exist. And it's all good. So I decided to go in on my own. We start the Final Judgment right here with Tony Jigsaw Cutillo, and it's been fantastic. We've had great interviews. Shout out to Eric Chris Franklin, Cordell Woodland from Baltimore, Kayla Santiago, Alexa Ross that'll be on this show. Chris Franklin will be back on the show. Kai Carlin on the show. Dan Levitt for coming in as an author who wrote the innovations in Major League Baseball cheating. Okay, International Talk. Okay, which is a great book. Go check it out. I have another author coming in who wrote, again. Here we go. I got to prop him up here. Forget. So everybody sees. So it's a great book right here. America Classic Ballparks. It's by my man James Buckley Jr. Tremendous. I mean, it's got, again, stuff from every ballpark all over. Okay, Dodgers State, when they were built, everything about it. He wrote about it. Okay, we were talking. He sent me the book. I said, yo, let's get on the show. I want to open the audience up to some different viewpoints, not just about normal sports talk, about other sports talk. Okay, so I can't wait to get him on the show. Listen, anything that we want to talk about, we could talk about. And shout out to SEO Brand, the home where all analytics begin. Again, I say this before and I'll say it again. There's no joke. When you do these things on your own, you need help. And I've formed a tremendous nucleus around with tremendous people that need to be adhered to here. SEObrand.com. Go check them out. They do all things when it comes to analytics, when it comes to SEO, which is SEO, which is search engine optimization. Okay, I would not be able to build my sites without SEO Brand. I would not be able to build my analytics without SEO Brand. Whether you're big or small, I'm telling you right now, it's a simple conversation. You'd be shocked at what you may find. Okay, make sure you tell them that Tony Jigsaw Cutillo sent you, and you shared it right here on the Final Judgment. But again, I'm blessed. I thank everybody. We're at 1.3 subscribers. We want to get to 2,000. It's been tremendous. The views have been great. The engagement has been fantastic. Again, make sure you're following a YouTube show on the Final Judgment channel. You're liking the button. Our good friends at Heat Ratio Sports, which is the network that I founded, that has tremendous talent there when we talk about a local and national perspective. And again, the Win Daily Sports family is always, when it comes to sports betting, for prop models from DFS, there's nobody who works in the business harder. And again, $5.99 gets you everything you need. All you need is the word green, and you get your free week. So everybody checking in, as always, go Phillies, ring that bell, stay safe, stay healthy. And like I always say, some people have thoughts, some people have takes, but on this show, you get the Final Judgment.